Dear Twin Flame souls out there, welcome to the Twin Flame Awakening Journey podcast, and today is an episode 109. In today's episode, we are going to dive into Twin Flames, Karmics, and Karmics. Why, for example, your Twin Flame will choose a Karmic over you, or why did you have a karmic relationship that you didn't see, or why do we have these relationships along the way of our journey. Right before we're going to dive into the story that is quite intriguing and is sent to me by one of the twin flames of her karmic story. And I also want to say that many of you have sent to me quite a lot of stories that I'm going to share here on the podcast. So I want to say thank you. If you wish to share your story, twinflameawakeningjourney@gmail.com or info@twinflameawakeningjourney.com, and they will come up step by step with a little bit of my feedback over here. Today, why I talk about this is that often, and I want to also bring it in, that often we are afraid that our twin will choose somebody else along the way, and it will not choose you, and it will choose the karmic, or they will stay in a relationship where they are with their karmic or something, or even with their soulmate in that sense. And I want to just bring it back over here that fears manifest as much as dreams. And if you are staying in a state of fear and in a state of it will never work out for me, this will never be there, this is all wrong and not right, and then that's what is going to manifest in your life. Your thoughts are very powerful. Your energy is very powerful. But now coming to the karmics, and me, I don't like this word because I feel, again, it's the same actually, I don't like the word of twin flames. Because when we put the labels and when we start saying karmic, then we immediately, what is the feeling we have inside is that something negative. But karmic is also a liberation for you to let go of something there, whether you had to learn and get your lesson. I'm sure we all had in our school or in our ways of the life that we have someone's teachers and guides that are bit of a hard ones, because they wake you up of you getting the lesson of not making this mistake again or becoming a better person and not getting stuck there. So that's why I just want to say that karmics are one of the people you actually have to say thank you. Thank you for liberating you from something that, whether you came here to learn as a human experience or whether you did something in a past life without knowing, and now you need to pay the price for that. So I don't, in a sense of see that from the negative part, but I'm going to tell you something. I have a very bad habit of seeing everything that I always find excuses for people why they are like this, that they need more love, they need more compassion, and love heals, and I always see that. And for me to say that somebody is bad and somebody is good is very difficult. So I'm not saying you have to be like me. It's just something my soul truly believes, that love heals everything. But but one of the things I do agree with is that no one should stay in a relationship or in a friendship or in a household where someone uses their power to abuse, to be rude, and not to go and heal that and get rid of this. But also, here is why I want to talk about, let's say, of your twin choosing a karmic. And you see that it's not good for your twin. You see that, oh, this is not good. Why my twin is doing that? Then now you have to understand here, while you are the same energy, just close your eyes and understand there is an energy that you're the same, but you're not the same person. Okay? And also another thing with twin flames is that we choose our path regardless of being one or not. The one affects another one, that's for sure. But it does not mean that and this is I see over and over and over again, twin flames, they do not mean that as you are one energy together, that it has to be a romantic relationship. And I know this hurts, and we don't want to hear that. I am not saying that you cannot have that. But if you are only focusing that twin flames, the meaning is a romantic relationship, you are a bit in a wrong path. Twin flame, number one thing is that your soul comes to awaken you, to show you who you are. And from there on, your life is never the same again. Never. Your twin flame is like a wake-up call to show you that you have been asleep. You don't see how amazing you are. You don't see the light you have. And if there is something that has to change in your life, and often twin flames also come to your life to save you from your karmic relationship or from the relationship that is already over. The contract is already over, but you are still hanging on to that because the unknown feels more scary than staying there where you know. So your twin flame, I call it, is your best life coach. You can end up together, 100%. 100%. I have no doubt in that. I don't have zero doubts that when you work yourself to become this highest version of you, that your twin will not appear in your life. I have no doubt in that. But here is also another day I was channeling, and I just want to share this, that one of the things on this journey we have is we don't know. We don't know if this journey is going to take 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. We don't know. So the fact of waiting for your twin or waiting your twin to choose you or be with you, and you are in this waiting mode, the time is really, really slow, and it feels like the universe is working against you. That's why I always say you have to get your mind, your obsession off from your twin and focus on you. They will not come in that sense of if you only focus on them, and all you do, you destroy yourself at this process. And I'm a true believer, if you work on yourself to that level, that the reason they came to your life, they will return back to your life, for sure. And they will tell you things that you always knew. And that's why strengthening your intuition, strengthening your knowing, strengthening your way of feeling what you're feeling. There's no point of lying to yourself. And trusting what is this journey about. But number one, this journey is a spiritual growth and spiritual awakening. This is the number one. That what comes later on from there is secondary. But the number one is your spiritual growth, you becoming you. And so now, let's just say that your twin flame is choosing another partner over you and doesn't even see you, doesn't even have any connection with you, or maybe it does, but something happened and you decide to go. You have to realize that this person that they choose might be also an element for her to realize who are you and why did you meet and why she had to experience this. I see this over and over and over again everywhere, where we can tell to some people that, listen, your partner is not good for you, or you are getting beaten up. And just by statistics, we know that most of the women, for example, experience the most abuse at their home. Not outside, but at their home. Maybe with men as well, but statistics shows us that most abuse happens at home. So to think about it, that we are experiencing something in our place where we should feel safe. And that's why the healing and transformation is so important. And you're very, very lucky if your twin happens to come to your life and save you from this. So now for those, let's say, who haven't learned their lessons yet, they are going to repeat that over and over again. And here is another thing, and that what comes down to the healing. Many can say that on twin flame journeys you don't need a healing. My question would be for that, okay, you don't need the healing, but how do you shift the frequency? If inside of you there is a sadness, abuse, torture, anger, disappointment, judgment, fear, not speaking truth, living a lie, how do you shift your frequency of not letting go of that? And also just to say, when we are going through all of these things in our life, and some of us are going through hell in our life, I just say that this is why I don't like comparison, because sometimes feels that my story is stronger than others, but we all are very fragile beings, very fragile. Like, we don't deserve the pain in a certain ways. I do believe that pain is one of the things that helps us to grow, but not in abuse-wise. And it's funny that today I talk a lot about that karmic isn't abusive or things like this. I kind of feel that the universe, or the way we use the words, that this is what it comes down to. But it's not always the case. Sometimes your karmic is ready to teach you a financial lesson, to teach you a love lesson, to teach you your worth lesson, to teach you, and it comes through in that sense of a bit of a negative aspect. And also, just before we're going to dive into why twin flames are afraid of love. Twin flame love is divine. And when we experience something so divine that we haven't experienced, I'm just going to tell you that most of the people have a very wrong understanding of love. And the same way of most of the people, or most of us, have a very wrong understanding of twin flames. Although I don't like that word either. And why do I say so? Is because we get caught into an attachment, that's how it's supposed to be. And you know that even with love, sometimes we believe that, for example, if I don't have drama in my relationship, or if I don't constantly get validation or things like this, then this is not love. Because that might be the pattern where you grow up in a family or something and you believe this is the love. And now when you feel the divine love, it feels like, how someone can love me as I am. This is not real. I have to be somebody else. I have to be funny. I have to be rich. I have to be this. I have to be that. And then I get the love. And the truth is, twin flame love is unconditional. It's divine. It's you. It's the purest version of you. And same for your twin. That's why you see the version of them that no one else sees, but you see it because you feel that unconditional love. But many of us as a society don't know what is unconditional love. And even if we're experiencing it, it feels very, very scary. So when we think of why is my twin flame running, why my twin flame choosing somebody else, because that love feels more familiar. The divine love does not feel familiar. And I can bring it in myself over here fully. When I met my twin and I felt something so divine, and many of you have felt something so divine, like you have arrived home, everything makes sense to you now in that sense of feeling so at peace, feeling so connected, feeling so much love. And yet at the same time, you can't believe that your twin really loves you, especially if you haven't heard from them. I'm going to say to you that most of the times, at least the data what I have, most of the time, except when sometimes it's through online or in other circumstances, both twin flames feel the magnetism. Both of them feel. Now the question is how they're going to express that, how they're going to show that. And some of you have, 2-3 days or 2-3 weeks of magnetism together, and you really feel it, and then they disappear, like it never happened. And some of you have longer, some of you have shorter. It depends what this energy has to do. So, and then, for example, they go back and, let's say, be with their soulmate or be with their karmic. And they can repeat and over again. Me, I see this, that you have to realize that all of these people who are coming along the way on this journey, they are for a growth. They are here to reflect something, and every person always reflects something for you in your life. So if your twin is choosing somebody else at this moment, it doesn't mean that it's over. And it doesn't mean that you should stop the process you're going through. And maybe you have someone along the way that you need to meet in order to get your lesson. Believe me, we are all from oneness, and we are all getting up in that sense to the oneness. And the more I believe you connect with your soul, the more you are doing in the sense of lifting your frequency and your vibration, the closer you become. And I see this daily. But you will not solve that with a mind. That will not happen. And you will not solve this within a state of doubting, within a fact that what you felt. If there was no magnetism and you convince yourself that I believe that that's what it's supposed to be and I'm going to tick the boxes, but you didn't actually feel any magnetism, you didn't feel actually any magic, then don't do that to yourself. But also, when you did feel it and you felt something so divine that you have never ever felt before in your life, whether you're 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 or 100 years old today, if you felt something so magnetism that today you can close your eyes and you can feel what happened on this moment, then welcome to this journey. And I'm a true believer, and I see this over and over, and even with myself. When you shift your frequency, when you work within yourself, with your trust, with your knowing, there's no doubt that you will not hear from them, or you will not see them, or you will not have a relationship. Last group session we had, there was a beautiful soul that came through and said, no, a lot was happening. She had to break up with her karmic, and then she broke up with her karmic, and her twin popped up from somewhere and said, I love you, all of this. And this was a bit of a shock for her, all of a sudden that this happened. So I always say that these so-called karmics or soulmates or soul contracts, or however we wish to label, they're all part of that process. For you, it's to trust. And I know it's not fun. I know it's not fun at all when, for example, you get to see, you love someone and you get to see that they are going with somebody else. Or they never told you that they love you. Or you don't even know that they ever felt something the way you do. It's not fun. And I'm not saying here that you should take that lightly, because obviously we have that question that maybe I made that all up. But I really want you to, just today even, think about it. What did you feel and what did happen on that moment? What did you feel when you met or when you were together? Did you see the magnetism? Did you feel something so strong that you cannot put into the words and it's haunting you until today? Many of you, I have spoken about it when I got a lot of peace, and that must have been a year ago, or I don't remember exactly, more than a year, but time goes so quickly, or so slow, depending on which state we are in. When I came to know about through channeling, and I know, and this was another day when I was doing channeling, and I felt that we are never happy if we get to know that there's going to be the later stage of your life when you're going to be together. In between, you have other people, you're going to connect, you're going to feel, you're going to grow, you're going to experience. And if we would get an answer that you will meet at a later stage of your life, but right now it will not happen because of this and this and this, then it feels like, oh, then it's not a twin flame. Then what's the point of my life? Because we are in a state where we want everything right now or right here, and we forget that we have a human experience. Don't get me wrong. The moment you met your twin flame, your life is never the same. This twin flame energy, or you, around you, is all the time. It's like a ghost. And some of us come earlier together, and they live life together, and they are going to have children together. Some of us will have a very short time together as a human experience. Some of us will not have, in a sense of romantic time together, but an understanding of what it was. And when I was told that the time is not right now here, and it would never work at this moment because of the circumstances, what we have to experience as a humans. And at this time, I was very much in a state of confusion and obsession, and I tried to understand if what I was feeling was real. And I remember I was at the retreat, and I didn't speak to anybody about it because I thought this is not real, and I just tried to survive and just get back to the normal. But there is no normal after meeting your twin. There's a life that is all connected and everything makes sense to you, and somehow doesn't make sense at all. But I remember when that retreat we had a channeling, and the message really clearly came and said, you're wanting something that will not work out at this moment, and there is a reason for that, and the reason is so and so on. And I felt such a liberation because my soul already had been telling me this. But of course, at this time, I know what I wanted. I wanted to know if my twin ever felt what I feel. And at that time, I had no answer. Of course, after that retreat and everything, all the answers started to come in because I was now in alignment with my own truth. That's why I say why I'm a big fan of channeling and energy activations and all of these things. And everything I do on my workshops is not to punish you. Is to give you also that opportunity. Number one, not to waste your time of being in the waiting mode, because that's the worst mode to be in. The best is to go into the state of flow. And I'm not saying here you have to date other people, or you have to, I'm not saying any of this. What I'm saying is start seeing a little bit of a bigger picture of that. A little bit a bigger picture. What you felt. What was this magnetism? Did you feel that they felt the magnetism? Because you can see it in their eyes. And if they are not ready and if they are afraid, it's the only way to liberate the fear is through you. Through you. Liberate the fear. Fear of love. Fear of feeling so divine. And believe me, they will notice that at one point. And also, just to say, I see this a lot, and that nowadays we are very robotic, where how we build the relationships and all of that. Twin flame love is doesn't make any sense there. There's no sense. There is just that magnetism, feeling home, and knowing. And I can see this over and over and over again. And obviously, please leave a comment if you had something happen magical this year. I make a Instagram post and here on YouTube and everywhere that you could share a little bit. What was the magical moment in 2024 that happened to you that you didn't believe that could happen, but happened to you? And why I do this, because often when we have the magic happened or our twin has come back or things, then we feel like, oh my God, that was so obvious. But now just to give it back for those who are not there yet, and the magic didn't happen to them, that they could get a bit of a support of realizing, okay, it might not happen right now, and we might have only 2 days on this earth together. But I will choose this love. I will choose to live and love myself. And believe me, when you are radiating, you are attracting so much beautiful things in your life, beautiful people, beautiful lessons, everything. But that can only come through healing. Healing in a sense of liberating the old stagnant energy. Otherwise, your frequency is what you're going to attract. And when you shift and change, which I will talk about in the future about the quantum entanglement and quantum physics that now is out there. I watched quite an interesting documentary about it, because we still don't understand our universe in a lot of ways, and quantum physics is one of the things that is going to bring us a big revolution, and I believe it's going to bring in also a lot more information about what we are experiencing it. But I will tell you a story of the karmic that was sent to me by our beautiful soul. And why I want to tell you is to understand the liberation of it. That we often are in the state of blame, but try to see it as a liberation. You had your lesson, or your twin is going to have a lesson, and that's where the liberation is coming. So I begin of this story. It starts with a couple of facts that seem random and unconnected, but they will come into play as I tell you the story. First, I have always had a morbid fear of water. For as long as I can remember, it has been always there. I took swimming lessons as a child, 3 sets of lessons, and I never learned to swim. I was so terrified of being even in the shallow end, and I would never let go of the side of the pool. Never mind rolling over to try to float on my back, or heaven forbid put my head under the water. Never. My fear followed me fully into adulthood. I didn't even like being in the shower and having the water splash on my face. I had to stand back so the water wasn't in my face, and turn facing away from the spray and tip my head back to wash and rinse my hair. I had conversations with my mom and trying to figure it out if anything had happened, like me slipping under the bath water as an infant or anything like this. And there just wasn't. And so that was the first thing. Second, my mom always said she knew the minute she saw my father for the first time ever standing across the street that he was the one. And she said my grandmother had always said the same thing about when she saw my grandfather for the first time, that he was the one. So there is that. And now into the story. I had recently gotten out of a 7-year relationship that had gone very bad as a result of escalating substance abuse. When I broke it off, it got ugly and messy. And he stalked me for a couple of years. So when I met Carrie, he seemed so safe and kind and responsible and normal. He was a firefighter and paramedic, ridiculously handsome, very athletic and fit, and extremely charismatic. Everyone loved him and gravitated towards him. So we started dating. Although I never had the same feeling that my mom and my grandmother had experienced. But then I just figured that wasn't my thing. We dated for a year and then he proposed and I said yes. We set the date, but I ended up postponing the date twice because something just felt off. But I couldn't have said what. After another year, we set the date again and this time went through with it. Things were all right. But the feeling of things being off somehow never went away. We'd been married for 3 years, both had good jobs and made good money. He managed the budget, and I was young and naive, and I was just going about living my life. But things were always tight, so tight that I went out for a look for a second job. Stay with me. This is where the story gets a bit tricky. I went into a restaurant club to interview for a serving position. The place was crowded. As soon as I stepped in, literally across a crowded room, I had an overwhelming sense of, oh, there you are, when I saw that bartender. He had his back turned to where I was, but I knew immediately. And then he turned around and I realized that just like my mom and my grandmother, I had found the one, Sean. Which was really interesting timing, being I was married and all. I'll make this middle part short. I got the job, and this was in July. Carrie, my husband, traveled a lot, and the marriage was growing more and more not right. But he wouldn't admit anything was wrong. Sean and I both realized there was something big happening between him and me. But I was married, and he was finalizing all the divorce. He was just finalizing a divorce. We tried our best to maintain distance, but ended up getting pulled together like two giant magnets. After a very weird and messy summer and fall, Sean and I decided we needed to sort things out. Him finalizing his divorce, and me figuring out what was going to happen with Carrie. So Sean booked a ticket to fly Florida to spend time with his family while we took some time apart to sort things out. This was November, and Sean was to fly out the following Friday. Meanwhile, I had convinced Carrie, my husband, to go to a counselor to either sort things out to get closure, or we could both move on. Carrie had a business trip the following week, so we agreed to make an appointment when he gets back. He left on the following Tuesday, and I was killed. My husband left on the following Tuesday and was killed in a small airplane crash on the way back from the trip of Thursday. The day before Sean was due to fly out to Florida. But wait, it gets better. Without going into all the messy details, I'll just say Carrie's girlfriend that he had moved into town came to the funeral with her whole family, introduced herself to everyone as his fiancé. And over the course of the next few months, I found out Carrie, my ex-husband, had left me $300,000 of debt, and I knew nothing about it. It was all a mess. Fast forward 3 years, 3 really hard years, the lawsuit for wrongful death settled for a huge amount of money. And I was able to set Carrie's steps, plus pay his parents' house and my mom's house off, and put in my money in an account for both of them for the security. Sean and I got married. We have 2 amazing boys and have now been married for 34 years. But here comes the karma part. As my spiritual awakening evolved, I became familiar with lots of different practices, one of which was Akashic Records reading. So I thought, I'd give it a try about 8 years ago, even though I was pretty skeptical. One of the first things she said when she opened that records was, "What's the deal with you and water?" I played a bit coy and I said, I have to think about that. I'm just going to stop here for a second. When my Akashic Records was done for me, I was the most poker face you can ever find someone. Because I was like, what is this thing? I'm not going to say that I was not spiritual, but it just felt so much information and so much things that I couldn't grasp upon. I was like, oh, okay, maybe, yeah. And so I often think back to her that she must have been thinking that oh, wow, she didn't believe a single word. And most probably I didn't. But later on, a lot of these things started to make that sense. She related a few things, then asked again, what's the deal with your water? Again, I just kind of shrugged and she kept going. Finally, a 3rd time, she slapped her hands down on the table and said, okay, seriously, what's your deal with water? My skepticism had gone to this point and I recognized she was connected with a higher source. So I shared with her my lifelong fear. And then she paused and then she asked, you were married before, yes? I nodded. Another pause, and then she said, he died in a violent way, yes? I acknowledged it and it had been a plane crash. After a long pause, and then she said, yeah. You were together in a previous lifetime and he drowned you. The minute she said it, I knew it to be absolutely true. She explained it that has been a momentary fit of anger and he held me underwater until I drowned. And the reason we had crossed paths in this lifetime and he had been taking violent ways away was a karmic debt, and that needed to be rebalanced. And now that was done, I will never cross paths again in any other lifetimes. And just as a little weird after effect, that night I took my shower and I was rinsing off and I realized I was standing directly under the water with it pouring over my head and face. And I hadn't even noticed it. So I've had a definite karmic relationship with Carrie. There's no doubt that Sean is my soulmate. And now this crazy twin flame journey that presented itself in August 2023 is in motion. And I believe beyond a shadow of doubt that just like everything else, it's divinely led. It's unfolding in divine timing. As in all the things, I just need to get out. My own way and see where it leads. And I'm beyond grateful for the universe for crossing my path with you. So, meaning of me. Because of her insights and guidance helping me to lead me through this ridiculous journey is keeping me sane to the insanity that twin flame awakening. I loved how she said twin flame awakening in the sense of not twin flame love or twin flame relationship or any of this. Twin flame awakening. I found this story incredible in many ways. One of the ways is that we are trying to avoid what we need to exactly have a lesson or liberation. And sometimes there's going to be a person who's going to come and give us the lesson that we don't want. And I know that you can often listen to my and feel maybe a lot of peace or a lot of zen and feel like I'm a happy puppy, all is good. I have experienced in a certain ways of a lot of setbacks, a lot of pain, a lot of, I would say in that sense of a karmic lessons, maybe if we may call, or life lessons. But I always take them as a life lessons. I don't see the point of going back and say this person did this to me or this person wanted this from me and this, and I don't. I like I said, I don't recommend you to be me. I know that most of my friends who know me closer, they always say it's impossible to talk to you. You always find excuses for everybody. and it's not. I just believe that everybody is love. And do I want to say that people who do bad things, that this is okay? No, I don't. But maybe my soul just sees somewhere there that there is a way of healing, and when we heal and transform, maybe these people will never do these bad things again. Instead of isolating and but we also need to know when to walk away. So I'm gonna say that don't be like me who forgives for everybody, who finds excuses for everybody. Don't be. But this is just very much of my nature. I see good in everybody and in everything, and so don't be like me. So yeah, I think in today's story you can take a lot of things with you that maybe help you to understand why your twin might be choosing a karmic at this moment, or why your twin get married to the karmic or maybe to the soulmate. And to realize that there is a lesson, and if your twin has to come back to your life, if you're gonna come to this journey, twin flame journey, like I say, is not something certain ways we choose. Yeah, we do choose, but it's not happening like this, that today I open up, let's say, my dating app or I don't know, other place, and I would go, I'm gonna find my twin flame. It doesn't happen. Normally you hear about the twin flames once you are fully in it and fully messed up, and then someone walks up to you and says, well, I believe you have met your twin flame, or you have that realization by yourself somewhere, because all of the boxes, all of the things that are happening, you are leading you closer to this. So a twin flame journey is not something we choose from the human mind, unless if you want to convince yourself and want to feel so special, which I don't believe, again, me, that someone would take a mission that, this has to be a twin flame. This is why I'm not a fan of labels. I just cannot, I can't. For me, it's what happened to you. What did you feel? And that's why when we have calls together, why do I ask you to tell me the story? Why do I ask you to explain what happened in between? Is number one, of course, to hear your frequency, and number two is to see, did you experience something magical? Did you experience something you cannot explain until today? So yeah, coming back to this, those who would like to have the calls, to inflameawakeningjourney.com, book your session, and I'm more than happy to meet you, more than happy to see how we are going to navigate your journey into the oneness, letting go of the fears. There are many stages, and I'm going to talk about also the stages, not in a regular way of stages, but stages of how we're going to step by step open this journey into the oneness. The other thing is, of course, if you are thinking that you deserve a beautiful Christmas gift for yourself, then of course you are more than welcome to join us in a Costa Rica retreat that happens end of February. I always say, invest in energy, invest in something that's gonna shift and change your life, in a sense of, just to say that new set of, I don't know, maybe we need sometimes, but let's say new set of tableware or new set of new bag or something it makes you feel good for a while, but if you have the void and if you have the fear, then invest in energy that you could transform into something amazing. So Costa Rica retreat, 25th of February till 2nd of March. You can sign up on the website through the form, and we'll send you all the rest of the information. Do it as quickly as you can. We have installment payments available, so you can start paying it 4 times or 5 times, that it will be affordable for you, not so much of a pressure. But again, it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to have that experience in Costa Rica, as we don't know if we're gonna go back to Costa Rica and do it again. So if you really feel called and you have the extra money for it, or I also say, even if you don't, ask from the universe. On Cyprus retreat, many people didn't have the money, and the money came to them. This is why I believe that your souls are so much guided and helped. So if you receive a money from somewhere, or you get something, then think about it that, oh, that's the money. That's the money for this. It's not for the new bag or new shoes. It's the money for you to transform. So I really look forward to meet you in Costa Rica next year. And those who want to see about the Cyprus retreat and everything, there's a movie coming out of it. So you get to see what magic can happen. So for that reason, I'm gonna say, please book your spot before you miss out the spots. And then on Patreon we have our last workshop on 15th of December. You get to choose what you want to do. I have put a little list over there. Join on Patreon, join on live session, and over the December we should be able to put all these workshops out, that you can do this over the holidays when it's the hardest time. I try to also find something in between. I will announce that a little later, as I know sometimes holidays are the hardest. Okay, so that was today's episode. I hope you go have maybe a journey or story or something that you wish to share. twinflameawakeningjourney.com. I will see you here very soon, and lots of love and lots of light.
And I've been waiting here for you all along. I've been waiting here for you all along. Where you been? Where did you go? I wonder if you found what you're looking for. Wonder if you found what you're looking for. I hope it's not too late. I want you back here with me. We never should have said it's better this way. I'd rather be with you than someone I don't know. Now it's like we're living in 2 separate worlds. Come on back to me. Say that you won't go. I can't cope without you, and I wanna hold you close. Say that you won't go. Say that you won't go. It's been so cold without you here. We barely said goodbye before you disappeared. It's been so cold without you here. I'm not gonna lie, don't know what I'd do without you. Maybe we could try to figure out a way to put our past aside. I've realized I only want you. I hope it's not too late. I want you back here with me. We never should have said it's better this way. I'd rather be with you than someone I don't know. Now it's like we're living in 2 separate worlds. Come on back to me. Say that you won't go. I can't cope without you, and I wanna hold you close. Say that you won't go. 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 I'd rather be with you than someone I don't know. Now it's like we're living